Tá éile páirc Sunadív. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We've got a new project here. It's not mine, it's belonging to another man, and he watches videos, gets some parts off me, and he picked this up with a load of parts that we've stacked over there, and he just asked me just to, I suppose, get it running, I suppose, is the main thing, and then make up a decision then on how far he wants to go with rebuild, restoration, whatever you want to call it. It's all, I suppose, going to be just play it by ear. So 1957 Ferguson FE35 TVO gold belly. It's got some wide rims on it there, kind of car tires. So might have been used on soft ground or bog. It was stripped down, shot blasted and painted by the previous owner. Some really nice original rare wheels here with rivets on them. Really sought after pieces then. The correct ones as well, and some fairly old Dunlop tyres with good grip on them. They're a good age. So it's going to be an interesting project. We'll see. I don't know how far we're going to go with it or how long it's going to be in this shed here in Daz's den. Some bits of it are from other tractors, you know, like this would be a 3-cylinder 35, a Perkins 3-cylinder 35 air intake here, and this as well. But I had a look at my own one and it's fairly similar. It'll probably do. I mean, the Perkins would have your throttle and all bolted in there, and this is different. It goes down to a carburetor. But look, we're going to focus on what we have, what we can work with. So I have to find my compression tester. I'd like to take out the spark plugs and do a dry and wet compression test to see what's going on inside the engine, so we can make up our mind on whether or not to lift the head. It isn't too dirty here. I'll get the workshop vacuum there, and I'll try and just get a clean paintbrush and just, you know, remove as much dirt up and out. In an ideal world, I'd remove the head and I'd put it in the parts washer over there with the brush, and everything will be washed out. But we want to go, I suppose, the simple route, the shortest route, as possible, you know. So I suppose if the head can stay on, well and good. So it all looks fairly good. There's some valve clearance to be done on it, but and we'd obviously go doing that. But now I think what I'll do first is remove the starter. I want to see the time marks in there as well, so I know, is it this is not a 1957 engine, it's a 1958 engine from a Massey Ferguson 35, because the crankcase breather on the Massey doesn't come out there. That's why it's blanked. It comes out on the oil filler here, and there's a pipe going from there around into the air intake. The gold belly is like the Ferguson 20 TVO. It has a little banjo bolt and a pipe coming up here, and that basically allows it to recycle that kind of moist, oily, hot, warm air. It sucks it back into the engine, burns it. It's actually very clever, like an EGR valve back in the day. Okay, so I have the wrong dipstick in it as well, but we have another. I think I have the proper dipstick for it there anyway, so we can, they're small details. But I think for now, I'm going to take out the starter, and I'm going to have a look on the flywheel there and see there should be a hole in there for doing the timing, and there is a 1/4-inch hole, and in and around that it'll give some marks. I have the workshop manual for this particular engine, so we'll be able to see where exactly it's timed. If I'm not mistaken, it's 8 degrees before top dead center, and that hole I think is 10, so we would have to get our distributor retarded 2 degrees, which is easy to do because there's marks on it. So let's go and whip out the starter, turn it over then until we get the timing mark, clean it up with a bit of sandpaper or whatever to get a look at it, see if the starter's moving and all that. We will need that for a compression test, and yeah, let's take it from there. Okay, so the first bit of work. 11/16. Let's loosen them and I'll put on the ratchet spanner then. That'll make there's actually a stud in there. Never saw a stud on these before. If you have to replace that with a bolt, we can do that. So I'll take out the bottom first. It's coming out nice. Right, we'll move on. A few nuts and bolts missing out of the bell housing here, but we've loads of them. Okay. We'll have to get a little plastic hammer at that, and we'll come back to them then. Right, rubber mallet here, just to give it a tap, should come out. Why it's so stuck. There we go. Okay. 1967 starter. It's kind of like a Morris Minor. And she's so far seized there anyway. I'll have to get a look. I'm looking here now, and her hole is just about lining up actually. Unless I don't notice that, won't know until I put a distributor in it. There's a hole, timing hole there. There's a few timing holes on these, so you can just see it there. So unless I get my distributor sorted, I won't know. And that'll line up down there if it's on number 1. So just a starting handle in there. So we're just going to turn the engine over nice and easy and just make sure that all of these valves are doing what they're meant to do, that there's no strange sounds or noises or anything like that. Always easier to do it by hand than just put a battery on it and spin it. Okay. So we're on, yeah, that was actually fire stroke number 1. That timer mark was right, so we should be on 3 now. So intake, exhaust, will come there now. There's exhaust. 4 in, that's exhaust. And 2 intake. Exhaust. Okay, we'll go through that again. Intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. For an engine that has, let's see, spark plugs that are loose, I was thinking, because it's seriously easy to turn over. My God, it's like there's zero compression. It's actually like there's no compression in it at all. So some of these are loose. That's probably a good thing, because I would like to see things get a little bit harder to turn over. Now you can hear a bit more. Okay, so I'm happy enough that the engine's turning. The compression does feel low, but you can hear it. It is a low compression ratio to burn kerosene, so we're not going to say that as yet. The oil looks fantastic. I mean, a little bit gloopy at the bottom, but here is lovely and golden. It's brand new, never used, I'd say. So we'll just turn it Over is watching the flywheel now for compression fire stroke 1, 3, 4, 2, in, out. Okay. And there's in, and there's our firing stroke there. No, because it's still there. It must be there. That's just, there's a hole there. No, it's not firing. There, yeah. Okay, there's the next hole there. Right. Okay, it's hard to, well, it'll be hard to know until we get our distributor on what's happening. Okay, sometimes there's a mark on the God, it's very easy to turn over. Governor spring is working. Adjusters here. Someone was in it at some point because the lock tabs are open. I thought there was a timing mark on this. I don't see anything there. It doesn't look like we have thermostat in there, so that's something that would have to be remedied for it to go right. So let's have a look at this starter. We'll throw it up on the bench and see if we can make it move. Put a spanner just on that square head there and see if I can just get a little bit of movement into it. That'll be the idea. And the same this end here. Before we go, taking out and apart. Now, okay, not good so far anyway. Yeah, no good so far. So I think the best thing we'll do with that at the moment is just leave it soak. Try and leave it soak with a bit of oil. It'll stay up there for a minute. Let a bit of oil down into it. I think it's going to be the only hope first. I don't like baiting stuff like that. Okay, and the next thing we're going to have a look at is the manifold and the carb and the U-bend and all of that. So I think the best thing to do here is strip all, leave the U-bend on, and then start cleaning this up with a drill and wire brush and give it a quick shot blast, especially inside. I think that is going to need a shot blasting, and then maybe just use the parts washer brush to clean out the intake. 1, 2, 3, 4 exhaust, intake. So them two and them two, try and flush them out and blow them out with an air gun, because they're what's going to be going into the engine. So we'll bring it over to the near device here. It's cotton Mitsu there. We'll throw a quick outline over it and see what is what. Okay, so it's got its. I took out the little split pin in this yesterday just to see what condition it's in. It's seen better days, but of course they are meant to be adjustable, this clevis here, so that you can adjust, you know, your governor to carb and all of that, right? They are meant to be main jet, moving, choke. This is really worn, so it is going to need I think it's going to, I've had a look at this already, like this carb. I do think we are going to be talking about a new carb, or a better carb. When just wear in this shaft and in the throttle shaft, it's hard to tune them. It's hard to tune it out of them because they're automatically getting too much air, and the vibration the engine vibrates them, and the air going in is up and down. It's unlevel, and it affects the mixture, spitting and farting and all of that. you know, that's what you end up with. But we'll take it off and we'll have a look and see what we can do. This side here is unfortunately a slow one, so I'll come back when I've that done and we'll get a look at the carb. Okay, so we'll just give this a wangle off here and see. Just about there now. Last thread or two. Okay. Our gasket is nearly usable again. It is. Beautiful. So we'll keep them all together. There's two gaskets here, so wait a second, we get a look and see if we can salvage both of them. If I have to use the little kind of surgical knife to take that off without damaging it, I will, because it's not in the greatest condition. But we'll see. I might be able to. A lot of gasket go underneath here. Okay, a lot of gasket go. That's okay. Good thick gasket. So I'll put all of the. Take a look at the carbs. So the screw and the spring is missing off here. There's going to be a spring going in there. Hole is blocked, and there's a good bit of wear there. Right. Let's get a little spanner of this. $11 or $12, I think. The throttle side of things doesn't look too bad, so it doesn't. Not too bad. Okay, so it looks like someone, that looks very fresh in there. So it does. Very fresh. Nice screws in that. Okay. It's all coming across. It's all coming off easy anyway. And that's wide open there. So that's all coming apart nice now. That's the beauty of brass. It's a great material. It just doesn't seem to corrode. But yeah, we just want to get a feel of that there. So the idle stop there is missing off it. Get another carb and show you. This is for adjusting your tick over there. See, you adjust that back and it allows that lad there to sit again, and that's how you adjust your tick over. To lower your tick over, you screw him out and it lets that close there and it shuts off air and fuel going into the engine. There's a good bit of wear in the, not the worst in the world, but so that spring could probably be reattached there. I'd say I'll get a little hook and I'll hitch him back up. Looks like he just came off. So the little hook of the spring there goes up under here onto that lad there, I think. So this spring could break because it looks brittle, but we have to try and push it where it's meant to go anyway. No, it didn't break. And that's meant to give you a bit of, spring it back to the off position. Yeah. And trying to see on this spring here, is it broke off? Probably is broke off. Oh no, it's there. Just this is stiff. But that doesn't matter. That's a small detail. Okay. So it is a vaporizing oil carburetor. It's very hard to see there, but there is VO written there. I'll try and turn it around into different lights so you can see VO, vaporizing oil. And usually 1202 is written on them as well. I'd have to clean it down a little bit better to see. I'll just give it a dart here with the wire brush and the drill and see if I can clean it up a little bit better. Yeah, there's numbers there. It's 24T2 anyway. So Ferguson 20 carburetor. A lot of people put these on the gold bellies instead of the 28G because these are easier to tune. So there's your idle jet there. That's what you screw in or screw out to adjust your fuel for idle. So just benefit from a bit of a clean, of course. Say about 1.5 turns out from closed is good, and this is usually 1.5 turns to main jet from closed. That feels like it's tightening in lovely there anyway. Okay, so we're going to put all of these into a box. So I'll come back then and keep them together. So we just gave it a quick clean up, shop blast, and we just face this gasket surface here, so it's good. I have some gaskets here. They are used gaskets, but they're perfectly usable again. There's no damage to them really, so they could do for test starting this engine. They're all there. There's no cracks or damages on them at all. I can't see how they wouldn't do the trick. So the next thing to do is get the carb fitted, but it needs a gasket. I have a new gasket for it, so I'll just have to run it past the owner and see if he's happy to go ahead with using this spares carb. And if so, I'll give it another quick clean out, blow out all of the jets and all of that, bit of carb cleaner, checked the float already, did a bit of work on it. It seems to be doing everything it should be doing. It's preset, turn and a half on the main jet, turn out on the idle, and I go another half turn as well, just and I tune from there, but that's jumping the gun a bit yet. So if he's happy to go with that, we'll put on the gasket, we'll do our bits on that, we'll fit this here, we can reuse the gaskets from there, that will be a-okay, and then we can fit this, but there's a few studs that are in the head that have sheared off, so we'll have to get them out. And I'm looking through some of the parts. There's a few more spare studs and nuts and all that there, so we can use. If not, I have some spare anyway, so we'll get it bolted on properly. We'll have a look at the engine side of things. We'll probably have to stuff the ports with a bit of white paper and clean down the face so that it makes a good it seals well, because we don't want air getting in because it affects the running and all of that. I've checked this pipe, blown it out, it's clear, which is very good news. So what I will do there, I'm just going to run a bit of oil down in there, because just in case there's a bit of blockage, we can blow it out then. Leave that soak, but it is clear, and that's important because it will not run very well if that's not hitched up. So I looked through the parts. The banjo bolt that goes into the rocker cover is there. It just needs 2 sealing washers. We have them. So far it looks like the fuel inside of things might just work. There is a bit of a pipe here. To me, it looks a little bit short to go from the fuel tank, the glass bowl, the whole way to the carb. It looks a bit short, but we might be able to just attach something onto the end of that to make a temporary fuel tank if we have to, rather than using the main fuel tank, because I'm feeling that's going to need a bit of work inside for long-term use. So that's where I'm going to leave it this evening. I did a lot of work off camera. I didn't want to be showing you shot blast on this, obviously. It's very loud and all of that, and that's what we spent our time with on today. We'll try and let this soak overnight. I'm going to spray a bit more oil on it to see if we can get it moving. I do think, however, it's probably fairly dirty in there, fairly rusty. It's something that was sitting out, I'd say, for a while. But we do have spares over here that I know work. I have a few videos on doing these up. There's 3 there on that shelf, and there is another one here. So we could fit one of them, and that would work for turning the engine. And of course, we have any world's weight of distributors there, so we'll have a look through them, pick one. We'll test the coil that's on the engine. If not, I have a brand new one there, just for testing purposes. We fit that, put a battery on, all of that. The engine oil is good. We won't be putting coolant in it. It'll just be to see if we could get it running and does it sound good. So we'll leave it there for this evening for this part 1.